The Four Sisters. Episode 1. The Orphanage. In a forgotten corner of the city, hidden behind rusted gates and broken fences, stood an orphanage that no one spoke about. It was not a place of hope. It was a place where children learned to survive instead of dream. Inside those walls lived four sisters, Ali, Onique, Laina, and Jaunell. They had no family but each other, and in that world, that was enough. The nights were the hardest. Rain would slam against the cracked windows, and the wind would crawl through the walls like something alive. The girls would lie close together on a thin mattress, sharing warmth in a place that offered none. Jaunell, the youngest, was always the first to break the silence. She would talk about futures she could barely imagine. Big houses, clean rooms, and food that never ran out. Onique would listen, but never fully believe her. She had learned early that hope was dangerous. Laina would quietly wonder if anyone out there ever thought about them. But Ali never wondered. She believed the world only cared about what you could take from it or survive against. And she had already decided she would survive for all of them. The orphanage was cruel in ways that did not always leave visible marks. Staff members ruled with anger, and punishment was common for the smallest mistakes. The children learned quickly to stay quiet, stay small, and stay out of sight. But Ali was different. One morning, a younger child was punished harshly for spilling food. The child cried out, helpless and frightened. Ali could not ignore it. She stepped forward without thinking, placing herself between the child and the staff member. It was not bravery to her. It was instinct. That moment changed everything. From that day on, Ali became a name spoken carefully inside those walls. Not because she was the strongest, but because she refused to look away when others suffered. And for her sisters, that meant safety. Most of the time. Years passed like that. Not with peace, but with endurance. The sisters grew older, shaped by the same environment, but in different ways. Onique became sharp and observant, always reading people like they were open books. Laina became calm, thoughtful, and deeply aware of patterns others missed. Jaunell became curious about everything, especially systems, technology, and how things worked behind the surface. And Ali remained what she had always been, a shield. Then, everything changed. One afternoon, the orphanage fell unusually silent. Even the staff seemed unsettled. Outside, engines approached. Black vehicles, expensive, polished, unfamiliar, entered the grounds. No one in the orphanage had ever seen anything like them. A man stepped out. He was calm, controlled, and confident in a way that did not belong in a place like this. His name was Victor Moretti, and the moment he walked inside, the atmosphere shifted. It was as if the building itself recognized him. The orphanage director greeted him with nervous respect. But Victor did not waste time on formalities. He asked only one question. Where are they? And then he placed 4 photographs on the table. 4 faces. Ali, Onique, Laina, and Jaunell. The director's expression changed immediately. The sisters were called that. They entered the room together as they always did. 4 parts of one survival story, but this time, the air felt different. Heavy. Waiting. Victor studied them carefully, as though confirming something only he could see. Then, in a calm voice, he said the words that shattered everything they thought they knew. He claimed to be their father. For a moment, no one spoke. The idea itself felt impossible. Ali rejected it instantly. Onique demanded proof. Laina stayed silent, analyzing every detail. Jaunell simply stared, searching for logic in a situation that refused to make sense. And Victor provided documents. records, evidence, things that suggested the truth might be real. But truth in that moment did not bring comfort. It brought uncertainty, because if he was telling the truth, then why had he waited so long? That night, sleep did not come easily. The sisters lay awake in the same room where they had always stayed, but nothing felt the same anymore. Their world had expanded beyond the orphanage walls in a single afternoon, and none of them knew what waited outside it. While the orphanage slept, Jaunell made a decision. She slipped out quietly, guided by curiosity and unease. She found her way into the office where Victor had been earlier. There, she found a computer still active. What she discovered changed everything. A folder labeled Project Bloodline. Inside were files, their names, their photos, years of records documenting their growth, behavior, and survival patterns. Observations, as if they had been studied. Not searched for out of love, but monitored like an experiment. Jaunell felt her breath tighten as she called for her sisters. One by one, they gathered behind her. Onique read silently, her expression sharpening with suspicion. Laina's calm began to fracture. Ali's eyes darkened, because the truth was no longer a question of whether Victor was their father. The real question was why he had been watching them like this for so long. And then, footsteps echoed outside the door. Slow, controlled, approaching. The sisters froze. The office light cast their shadows across the walls like something waiting to be judged. The door creaked open, and a voice spoke from the darkness. A voice that already knew they were there. And in that moment, they understood something terrifying. Their story had never belonged to them alone.